Hello there, and welcome to Casual Fridays, the podcast where themes are discussed through personal anecdotes, experiences, and some storytelling. I am your host, Dada, and this podcast is part of my I Read Aloud channel, which is on YouTube. And on my YouTube channel, I read fairy tales, short stories, poetry, some letters, some excerpts. I read some poetry in Arabic on Sundays. And if you like such content, make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel, I Read Aloud. I also wanted to know that this podcast airs every Friday on several platforms, not only on YouTube but also on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeart Radio, Listen Notes, RSS, and Spotify. Today's episode is titled Social Bullying, and who among us really have never been bullied in their lives? Even bullies have been bullied, believe you me. But how come bullying is the oldest social bane that never goes away? We mainly address the issue of bullying in schools. We are appalled by it when it happens in schools. We hold meetings and everyone is involved. We bring in the parents, teachers are involved, administration is involved, the psychologist at the school is involved. But then school is over and all is fair game in society. Hell, in corporations and the corporate world, bullying is even viewed positively. We call it power play and getting ahead, and all lack of decency is overlooked and swept under the rug. However, I am not going to talk about bullying in corporations in any way because, corporations have their own politics, their own culture, and that will not change anytime soon. So, I'm not going to tackle that today. Today I want to focus on social bullying that happens out in the open, in the coffee shop, at the mall, in an elevator, on the street, on the staircase, everywhere around you. And usually we are too shocked at times by social bullying that we don't even react to it and we just stare dumbfounded at what was just said or what happened. Now, the term social bullying is by definition restricted to any behavior that is meant to destroy someone's reputation, to exclude someone, to spread rumors about someone. But I want to expand that definition today to include unwarranted remarks and behavior from strangers that you encounter at random who cannot accept differences. I am sure that many of you have been looked up and down by someone or other at some point in your life. And the funny situation that happened with me there was as I was walking into a restaurant one day, and the manager who's supposed to greet me from afar sized me up and looked me up and down. And I'm like, okay, now I can turn and leave this place. I do not want to be in a restaurant where I'm not welcome from the first instance. So, well, too bad. That guy lost a customer that day, but you don't have to take it. And you know what now? Whenever someone tries to size me up, I just look at them and I smile and I'm like, are you happy with what you saw? I know I'm gorgeous. And that really flusters them. So you have to counter a situation like that with a lot of confidence. When you are confident and you just, put the other person down and you belittle their behavior, I don't know if it's like bullying them back, maybe it is. But sometimes you need to put people in their place when they are attacking you. It's, you have to defend yourself a little bit. But you can do it kindly. Why not? Just create your boundary and be kind about it. And I'm sure many of you have also faced, condescending remarks or snide remarks from total strangers that you meet. Once I was waiting for an elevator at a mall, and it was during the holiday season, and you know how the elevators become so jam-packed that the elevator arrived 4 or 5 times in a row without anybody stepping out. So, I am too confident sometimes for my own good, and I invite stuff in, but at some point, I jokingly said when the elevator doors opened, isn't someone gonna step out already? And this lady, who was probably having a very bad day, looked at me and said, really? Just one person has to step out for you? And everyone was like appalled looking at her. And I just, smiled and told her in Arabic, Jamelik, meaning, your beauty, your gorgeousness, and of course the elevator doors closed, and I'm sure she got the message that, shouldn't judge people, and that, I was being snide and not very nice to her when I said that. But that wasn't actually what I remember the most about this incident. What happened later was shocking to me because there was another young woman waiting for the elevator with us, with me and a friend of mine. She was with her boyfriend, her husband, I don't know. And she started crying. And I mean, I didn't notice that at first, but then I looked at her and I was like, what's wrong? And she was crying about how people can be so rude to others. And I'm like, wow, you know what? I wasn't that affected by this encounter. So it's okay, honey. I mean, things happen all the time. But it got me thinking that, I sometimes take things so in stride because definitely I am someone who looks different in society, and I'm used to it. I'm used to going everywhere with people, throwing remarks here and there and saying, ugly stuff, whatever. But I'm just too confident and I don't care. I know who I am and I love myself, and I just take it in stride and I just move on and I don't really think about it. And this young woman, I don't know, it was probably the first time she's witnessed something like that, but she really wept for me, and I had to comfort her. So it was so funny that I had to comfort her instead of her comforting me in an ironic way. Anyway. And when I was younger, and I really want to put this out for all young people who face any kind of discrimination because of the way they look or their appearance, their mannerisms, anything. When you are younger, you are still discovering who you are, and so you're not totally confident with who you are, and maybe people's reactions or comments or the way they behave towards you affects you in a negative way. And social bullying is known to lead to some depression and anxiety, some withdrawal, some maybe overreacting and drama in public. And the idea is, with time is your friend. With time, when you grow older, you gain more confidence and you won't feel the way people would like you to feel when they make these snide comments or these remarks, when they confront you with their social bullying. And you could learn little by little to grow some backbone. It's okay. Not everyone's gonna love you, not everyone's gonna accept you, and you don't have to look for love and acceptance outside of yourself. When you accept yourself and you love yourself, and when I used to teach at the beginning of my career, I used to tell my female students especially, you have to look at yourself naked in the mirror and love yourself. You have to love every inch of yourself. Everything that society tells you is ugly, you have to love it. And when you do that, you are able to walk out naked in public and not care about what anybody says. And in a way, age kind of becomes your friend when it comes to differences, because people expect you to be different as you age and to look different as you age. So now when I walk into a place, I'm referred to as Madame. And in French, it has different connotation than in English. Madame in English has a bit of a hierarchical connotation, a connotation of maybe someone being better than the other. But in French, Madame is a sign of respect. And basically, so when I become a madame, there's acceptance of me as a whole, as I am. And so in a way, it's not only the confidence that helps when you age, it's also the acceptance, because no one's going to look in their at midlife the same as they look when they are in their 20s. But still, this doesn't mean that people in their 20s and 30s should allow any type of social bullying to break them and to break their confidence and to make them feel horrible and to allow them to sink into any kind of depression or negative emotion. And in a way, I also don't blame people really for social bullying, because People are conditioned, you see. I mean, yes, we use this word brainwashing. We're brainwashed by not only media but by our culture, the way we are raised, by any cult we belong to, by any close society we are a part of. And if you think about it, there are some cultures, for example, that accept face tattoos and facial piercings, and anyone to them who does not have facial tattoos and piercings is someone who is different. Whereas this person who is accepted in this culture with the face tattoos and piercings goes out into another society where it's not accepted. This person will be rejected, will be bullied socially, and will not be accepted. And it all has to do with our beliefs about how things should be. And unfortunately, with such beliefs, we close off ourselves to any possibility of what might be and what is. I also see social bullying as a brain thing, because our brains are wired to like sameness, to like order. And so our brains, when they encounter anything a bit different, the brain views it as a threat or as chaos. And that's why we always have this reaction, in the brain to immediately, react with a condescending look or amazement or, some snide remarks. And it's a reaction that comes because we are in a way protecting ourselves from what is different, from what is unknown. But what we can do as social bullies is to stop ourselves in mid-thought. Stop your brain from thinking that thought. Stop your brain from functioning totally at some point in such a situation. Hold yourself back and allow your heart to come into the matter. Because with your heart comes compassion and love and kindness towards the other. And this will stop you from socially bullying other people. And so when we bring in our hearts into the equation, we become more accepting. And so we don't see the other as that different, but as just another human being who is going through the same life struggles as we are. And this brings me to the end of this episode. Next week's theme shall be on embracing your weirdness. And I hope you'll tune in then. And until that time, I send you all my love and I wish you a lovely weekend. See you next Friday.